Welcome back to HQ. The 4 MLB divisional series all get going today with the defending World Series champs. The first game of the day, that one is at 1:07 in Atlanta. All 4 home teams favored to win. Got to stay up late if you want to see the Padres and Dodgers. If you're on the East Coast, they start a little after 9:30 in the evening. And with that, we welcome in our MLB expert, Jim Bowden. Jim, the Dodgers won 111 games this season. They finished 22 games ahead of the Padres in the NL West. What are the keys you're looking for with Game 1 tonight?
Yeah, look, I think the Dodgers will win this series here. I don't think there's any question about that. I think if the Padres could have swept the Mets and Joe Musgrove could have gotten 2 starts in this series, I might have seen a runway for an upset because, as we all know, anything can happen in a short series. But when you look at these two teams when they were playing head-to-head this year, Zachary, the Dodgers went 14-5. 14-5 against San Diego. And in those wins, Julio Urias, who's going to finish in the top 2 in the Cy Young voting, he went 3-0 with a 1.50 ERA. He'll pitch Game 1 and Game 5 if necessary. Clayton Kershaw will start Game 2. The future Hall of Famer against the Padres this year, a 0.75 ERA. And oh, by the way, Tyler Anderson went 2-0 with a 1.88 ERA. And look, the top 3 hitters in the Dodgers lineup, when you look at Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman, all 3 have won MVP awards. All 3 can hit the best pitching in the sport. And you combine that with the fact that Will Smith hit 5 homers and drove in 12 runs against the Padres. And Trey Turner added 2 homers and 14 RBIs. This Dodger lineup is too deep, too strong. Starting pitching is too good. I just don't see a runway where the Padres are going to be able to upset them. The Dodgers have owned them for the last several years, and I don't think that's going to change this October.
For the Padres, is there, without Musgrove being able to pitch 2 times, I mean, do you see any type of scenario? Like, can they steal one today in Game 1 and maybe get a little bit of momentum riding high after taking down the Mets? Is that any possibility?
Well, I mean, look, we can argue that having the Dodgers sit because of that extra round of playoffs, expanded playoffs, is it going to be rust or is the rest going to benefit? You could kind of argue that. It's just hard to see Mike Clevenger beat Julio Urias at Dodger Stadium for me, but anything's possible in a short series. Look, if the Dodgers are going to lose a game or 2 in the series, I think it's because Manny Machado and Juan Soto stand up and are superstars. When you look at the Mets series, who did most of the damage for the Padres? It was Trent Grisham. It was Austin Nola. It was Jurickson Profar. It wasn't the big boys. And I think if the Padres were to win a game or 2 in this series, I think it'll be Manny Machado and Juan Superstar showing off the kind of superstars that they are.
You need your big-time players to step up at this time of the season, and that's exactly what the Padres are going to need to have any chance against the Dodgers. Looking over to the NL side and going to the East specifically, Atlanta begins their quest for 2 straight World Series titles against the Phillies. Braves won the season series 11-8. A day game today where Max Fried has been pretty good this season, 3-1 with a 2.23 ERA. 6 in 6 day games this season. Across the board, Atlanta seems better everywhere you look about it compared to a year ago. How do you see this series playing out?
Yeah, same way. I think the Braves take the series. I think the Phillies win a game because they have 2 great starting pitchers in Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler. And both of those guys are capable of winning their starts. That's how good they are. I mean, they got to pitch deep into the game, but, that's what we saw them do against the St. Louis Cardinals. Those 2 aces went in and beat St. Louis, but that was 2 out of 3. That wasn't best of 5. And when you go against Max Fried, as you mentioned, I covered him last postseason all the way to the World Championship. This guy's got a slow heartbeat. He's been to these games before. He's ready for it. And Kyle Wright developed this year into a top-of-the-rotation starter and ended up leading the National League in wins. He'll pitch Game 2 for the Atlanta Braves, and they're well-rested. And I like what they did on the off day as well. President and GM Alex Anthopoulos went out and extended Spencer Strider, another young player. So the message in that Braves clubhouse is, hey, we're all here to stay. Most of the young players have all been signed long-term. We're the defending world champions. And I think it added a positive boost. Now, I like how the Phillies countered by extending Rod Thompson, their manager, for 2 years and making him the permanent manager. And the Phillies are coming in feeling good about themselves. They found a way to make the playoffs and edge out Milwaukee to get there. They upset the Cardinals with a 2-game sweep in St. Louis. So they're feeling great about themselves. And they have power. Kyle Schwarber led the National League in home runs. Rhys Hoskins added 30. And oh, by the way, you got Bryce Harper and Nick Castellanos, who had down years, but are always capable in a short series of stepping up and doing a lot of damage. But I think, as you mentioned, when you look at these two teams overall, Braves rotation is deeper, bullpen is much better and much deeper. The Braves are a much better defensive team. In fact, the Braves are the best defensive team in the National League, and the Phillies are the worst defensive team in these playoffs. So overall, I think when you balance everything out, I think you'll see that we will have the same NLCS we had a year ago, Zachary, Braves-Dodgers.
It will be interesting to watch and see if Spencer Strider is able to go after having some time off with that oblique injury. Mariners back in the postseason, but looking to extend their stay a little longer. Seattle got the best of the Blue Jays, but tonight they faced Justin Verlander. You know he's been filthy this season. 22 strikeouts in his last 3 starts. What can the Mariners do to take down the Astros?
Yeah, let's start with Verlander because his 1.75 ERA was the lowest ERA we have seen in the American League since Pedro Martinez, all the way back in 2000, 22 years ago, over those 28 starts. Verlander arm looks like a 20-year-old. I mean, it's unbelievable what he was able to do. First in the league in ERA, WHIP, and opposing batting average against, second in the league in wins. He'll pitch game 1 and, if necessary, a game 5. I doubt he'll get to 5 games. The Houston Astros are significantly better than any team in the American League. They really don't have a weakness here. Verlander will be followed by Framber Valdez in game 2. Valdez broke the record for the Astros' most consecutive quality starts in a single season this year. And overall, look at the pitching for the Astros. Second in ERA, second in starter ERA, first in bullpen ERA, second in WHIP. I mean, just a dominating pitching staff. And offensively, they're led by 2 young 25 and under superstars. Yordan Alvarez, who I will argue is the best left-handed hitter in the American League. Kyle Tucker, the right fielder, who has hit 30 homers each of the last 2 years. Oh, by the way, also playing Gold Glove caliber defense. And how about the veterans that were there when they won the World Championship in 2017? Third baseman Alex Bregman, second baseman Jose Altuve, both of them having great years. And how about the rookie shortstop, Jeremy Pena, who have a lot of Astros fans not missing Carlos Correa. That's how good he has been. So the Astros, heavy favorites. Now, to your point on the other side with the Seattle Mariners, Julio Rodriguez is going to win American League Rookie of the Year. He's one of the most exciting young players in the game. He can beat you with his legs, his glove, his arm, his hit tool, his power, and even his smile. Really fun to watch him. Ty France, professional hitter. Eugenio Suarez hit 31 home runs for this baseball team, and they have solid starting pitching. And so, look, I don't think the Astros are going to be able to sweep them, but I kind of view it the same way that I do the Dodgers and Braves series. I think the Astros will be able to handle them pretty easily, probably in 4 games.
Do we have a chance to have a more competitive series between the Yankees and Guardians? They played 6 times this season, and New York won 5 of those. We heard from Aaron Judge earlier in the show. He's trying to get postseason play and lead the Yankees to some series wins. How can this one shake out?
I think you're going to get a series here. I think this is the one series of the 4 that has a chance to go to 5 games. The Cleveland Guardians have 2 number 1 starters, right? In Bieber, Shane Bieber, the right-hander, and Tristan McKenzie, and those 2 guys are capable of winning both of their starts. Cal Quantrill will go here in game 1 for the Guardians. He had a solid year. What the Guardians bring to the table is a better bullpen than the Yankees have. They have more swing and miss stuff, and they have deeper amount of arms. They also have the best closer in the American League at Emmanuel Clase, who converted 42 of 46 saves, and the Yankees don't have a closer. Manager Aaron Boone is going to have to do closing by committee, so whether that's Clay Holmes or Lou Trevino or Wandy Peralta, Jonathan Loaiza, it's mixing and matching, and those pitchers, a lot of them pitch to contact rather than swing and miss stuff. There's no Aroldis Chapman even on the roster anymore, and they're going to really miss that. It's the one weakness, the kryptonite of the Yankees. Now, offensively, the Guardians have no power whatsoever, but they don't strike out. They led the American League in contact rate, and they struck out the least of any American League team. They're a great base running team. They're an elite defensive team. If the game is 2-1 or 3-2, they can beat you. For the Yankees to do what they're supposed to do, and I'm going to predict the Yankees are going to win this series in 5 games. But if they're going to win it, they're going to win it with a home run. They need Aaron Judge to be the MVP that he was all year long. They need Giancarlo Stanton to play like he did the last 4 or 5 days of the regular season, and they need Anthony Rizzo to do his thing. If the big boys can hit homers, and I don't just mean solo shots, I'm talking 3-run bombs. If they can do that, they will beat the Guardians. But I don't think it's going to be easy as most people think. We start here in game 1, Cole against Quantrill. You would think that's a mismatch since Cole's getting paid $324 million, but he has not pitched great over his last 5 starts. We're going to have a series, I think. It starts tonight at Yankee Stadium.
He's Jim Bowden. I know he will be very busy coming up here. 4 games on the slate to get us going with postseason action. Thank you very much, Jim. I know we'll be in touch very soon. A look at the odds to win the World Series. Yankees with the 3rd best we just discussed. The Braves right behind them at plus 550. The Dodgers the heavy favorite to win the World Series.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.